Well, hello there. So it's almost been 3 years since I've lived in Florida. And a couple years ago, I made a video about the pros and cons of living here. And while for the most part, I do love living here, there are a couple things I wish I knew about before I moved here that might have actually made me second guess it. So here are 5 things I wish I knew before moving here. Number 1, we get tornadoes. So growing up in the 90s, there were 2 movies that terrified me. Dante's Peak and Twister. I will never get over that scene where the grandma gets out of the boat to save everybody. Let me look it up to make sure I wasn't hallucinating it. You know, sometimes it's been so long since you've seen something, you're like, was that real? Nope. I saw the thumbnail. Nope, I can't do it. I just can't. So somebody who's actually seen the movie recently can tell me if I was imagining that scene or not, but it scarred me for life. So that movie forever ruined volcanoes for me, and I've been deathly afraid of them ever since. And you better believe the whole time I lived in Portland, I was looking at Mount Hood like, don't you dare. Now Twister, on the other hand, I don't remember the movie that much. I don't even know if I actually saw it, but I do know that it's the reason I'm deathly afraid of tornadoes and convinced that if it comes through, it's gonna grab everything and suck us all into this big funnel of doom and we're all gonna die. When I lived in Portland, we were put on tornado watch once, watch or warning, whatever the lower one is, and I bawled my eyes out. Thought we were all gonna die. So anyways, when I moved to Florida, I knew I was gonna have to deal with hurricanes. Like, that was obvious. Everybody I told that I was gonna move to Florida was like, you're gonna die from a hurricane. And Harvey had just happened in Texas. Everybody kept going on about the hurricanes. They're like, you're gonna die. You see what's happening in Texas. That's gonna be you. You're gonna flood. Your whole life's gonna be over. The wind, everything's gonna kill you. And no one ever thought to be like, hey, do you know that Florida gets tornadoes too? So imagine my surprise when I rolled up to Daytona Beach for the first time and some random announcer DJ dude hops on a mic and is like, whew, looks like the tornado's gone. Let's get back to business. I'm sorry, what? I know this man did not just say the T word. The worst part was he said it like so casually too. He was like, well, that was a doozy for our event. Let's get back to surfing. Do you know what I would have said on the mic? Mayday! Mayday! Twister is here! Everybody pack up your inflatable donut and leave Florida now! We're all gonna die! Like, for real, I might not have moved to Florida if I knew about the tornadoes. That's how petrified I am of them. But at that point, it was already too late. We had signed the lease and my cat had already rubbed up against all the doors in this house. We were stuck. So heads up to any of you clueless West Coasters like me out there, there are tornadoes here. I haven't seen one in the flesh yet. If I did, I'd probably get cardiac arrest and die. But there have been a couple times where I've gotten notifications on my phone that they might be in the area and my whole soul just up and left my body. I'm telling you right now, when I see a tornado, Lord help me, there will be tears. Ugly tears. Maybe a nervous breakdown, and I'll probably end up on some crazy news story like Florida woman tries to use a vacuum to suck up tornado and ends up getting sucked in herself. More at 5. So yes, I wish I had known so that I wasn't completely blindsided and learned that they're here and I'm gonna die. Number 2. So this one, oh my god, this shocked me. So it's 2 things. It has to do with registering your car and all that. So I drove my car here. I went to the DMV and I was like, hey, I need to register my car. And I cannot believe how expensive it was. I don't know if I got ripped off, I went to the wrong place, if it's because the county I'm in or whatever. But when the woman told me the price, I had to ask her to repeat herself because I was like, no, I heard that wrong. There's no way. But no, $400. How are you gonna sit there all nonchalant and tell me it's $400 like that's not the cost of a Disney annual pass? Not only that, but like a year later, I sold my car and I didn't know that if you surrender your plates, you don't have to pay like $200 or something. When I lived in California and Oregon, you didn't have to give your license plates back. Like, as you can see above, you've probably seen in my videos, I get to keep the license plates. It doesn't work that way here. And I didn't know that. And I also didn't know that if you surrender your plates, it saves you money. So when I got my new car, like, I ended up paying like $200 something, and the lady at the DMV was like, oh my god, didn't you know that? And I'm like, no, I didn't. Thanks for not telling me. Honestly, if I could just do this all over again, I would have just sold my car and like flew here or something and then bought a new car here because it was so much wear and tear on my car and I had to pay all this crazy amount of money just to bring my car here and then get it set up here, only for it to then just like break down every 5 minutes. Just within the first year of living here, my AC went out like twice, my starter had to be replaced, my battery had to be replaced. Like, it was just like one big hit after the other, and I was just like, I can't take it anymore. So then I bought my new car, and then that's when I learned about the surrendering the plates thing, and it's just like spent so much money on car stuff since moving here. Should have just sold it, came here, and then bought a new one, saved all the hassle, but oh well. Number 3. I didn't realize how far apart Orlando is spread out. Like, I had only come here once before I moved here, and I literally just went to Disney and then left. So I didn't know what the city was like. There's this meme that says like, do you know Orlando is an hour from Orlando? And it is so true. Like, it's not unusual for the people you work with to live like an hour away from you. Everything is just like so spread apart. And then one thing that like confused me when I came here is like, you'd look up something on like Google Maps and it would say like 2 miles, and you're like, oh, that's not that long, that's not that far. But then for some reason 2 miles here is gonna take you forever. It's just really weird. Like, it'll say like 3 miles in like 15 minutes, and you're like, how? I don't really like where I live. I'm so like far from everything. It takes me at least a half hour to get pretty much anywhere. It's just so spread out. Traffic, of course, makes it worse, but I just didn't realize how spread out everything was and how long it takes you to get from one place to the other. So that's something I kind of wish I knew beforehand. Number 4. All right, so as you can see, I am a very pale, pasty, very red undertoned person. So as you probably know, me being in the sun is like an automatic recipe for disaster. The sun here is just like so brutal. Now, I grew up in California, so like sunshine and hot weather isn't anything new to me, but I've never gotten sunburns like the ones I've gotten here. In my 17 years of living in California, I really only got about like 5 sunburns that were really awful and really bad and really painful. And I always got them during the summer when I was like out swimming or went to Six Flags, like when I was out in the sun all day during the summer. That's when I got them. But here, I go outside for 5 minutes and I turn into a tomato. It doesn't matter what strength of SPF I use or if I reapply, which is usually really hard to do because I'm just dripping in sweat so it doesn't stick. I burn, baby, burn. I can get 3 shades darker in one day here. Side note, every time I try to sing Burn Baby Burn, I go into the Baby Bottle Pop song instead. Burn, baby, burn, burn, baby, burn. Just lick it, dip it and shake it, and lick it again. It's a baby bottle pop, baby bottle pop. Especially when I go down to like southern Florida. The worst sunburn I've ever gotten in my life was when I went to Fort Lauderdale about a year or 2 ago. I was so burnt. I was burnt for weeks. Like, it was so painful. It was awful. I'll try to put a picture if I can find one, but it was so bad. Especially on my thigh. Like, it just tore me up. And I was outside all the time in California and it never really did that, but here it's just like, boom, she's burnt. Number 5. Now this last one I'm only gonna talk about briefly because if I talk about it too long, I'm gonna get mad and start arguments with strangers on Facebook. And this might piss some people off. This one tends to get some feathers ruffled, but I don't care. This has been my experience and it is what it is. But the medical system here, it's ridiculous, and not in a good way. First of all, the cost of insurance here blew my mind. Now, obviously, I'm only really comparing this to Oregon. I haven't lived in all 50 states. Shocking, I know. I don't know who's the worst and who's the best. This is just compared to what I've dealt with in Oregon. In Oregon, I was paying $78-ish for pretty decent healthcare. It was nothing special, but it wasn't like the bottom of the barrel either. My prescriptions usually came out to only like $1 or $2. Pretty low copay. When I got some moles removed, that cost me about $200, which, okay. It was a pretty good deal. I wasn't mad about it. I could go to the doctor and get things done, and I wasn't being hit with like crazy medical bills. Now here I have insurance through my work and it costs about like $80 to $90. and it's an absolute joke. I don't want to talk about it too much because I'll get upset, but it doesn't cover anything. It really doesn't. And I've spent a lot of money out of pocket, and it makes you wonder why you even bother having insurance. But I just can't get my head around how demanding the system is here and how unorganized they are. This isn't so much aimed at like the doctors, just how their offices are run and how the insurance is run. I don't know if it's just like the doctors in Oregon just really didn't care and gave me whatever I wanted, which, not gonna lie, that's kind of what happened. But I've heard this complaint from a lot of other people that have moved from another state to Florida. They're just like, what is up with the healthcare here? Like, so many loopholes, so expensive. And when you want to make an appointment, we won't call you back. Joke's on you. Want to know your test results? Too bad. Even when you come in and ask, we don't know what you even got tested for. And this hasn't happened at like just one doctor's office. This happens at pretty much almost every doctor's office I've been to. I keep running into this problem anywhere I go, and I'm on a lot of medications, and getting them refilled is like the biggest nightmare. If you've seen my past PMDD video, you know that I suffer from like god awful periods, and trying to get treatment for them here has been a joke, honestly. One of the medications I'm on for my PMDD, you can't be pregnant when you're on it, first of all. So I have to go and take a pregnancy test every month, and then they send it to my doctor, and then the dosage I'm on is really, really high, so I can't get it from a regular pharmacy. So then the doctor has to call a company who compounds it into bigger dosages, and then they send it to me. And every month, it's a nightmare. I'll go, I'll pee in a cup, and they used to always send things over to my doctor, but lately they haven't. So then I have to call the company and tell them, hey, can you send that over to my doctor? Then I have to wait a couple more days, call my doctor, be like, hey, did you get that prescription? For them to be like, oh yeah, we got it on Friday. Cool, did you send it? No, do you want me to send it? No, I want you to just look at it. I do this every month. Of course I want you to send it. And then they send it to the company, and then I sometimes have to call the company and be like, hey, did you get my prescription? And they're like, oh yeah, did you want us to refill this? No, I've gone through all this trouble just for you to stare at it and twiddle your thumb. Yes, refill it. It's so annoying, and it's just like, ugh, I hate it. I really wish I had gotten all the medical treatment that I'm trying to get now when I lived in Oregon, because my doctors were a lot more willing back home. All right, I'm gonna quit talking about it before I get too upset because it makes me mad a lot. But those are the 5 things I wish I had known before I moved here. Like, overall, like I said, I really do like it here, and I don't regret moving here. It would have been nice to know these things before I did. Thank you guys for watching. Don't forget to check out my pros and cons of living in Orlando if you haven't yet. And I will see you guys next week. New videos every Thursday. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and follow me on Instagram. All right, bye. Oh my God, I hate contacts. And closed my eyes. Quiet, oh my God. I hate living in apartments. I hate living in apartments. I'm trying to record my pros and cons of Florida.